This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize the headlines that you may have missed this morning, but we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 10th of December 2021, and I am Horio.
I am Miss Pope.
And I am GK. In case you missed the headlines, here they are. The Daily Nation, Raila's big day. The Standard, how NASA turned into a blessing for Raila. The Star, Raila's mega dream. And finally, the People Daily, Raila's big Azimio wedding. So for those who watch this channel, you'll know that we have a three-part criteria that we use to break the headlines for you. We ask ourselves these three questions. Is the headline topical or speculative? Is it repetitive or groundbreaking? And finally, is it thoughtful or just plain lazy? So Horio, first time on the bench, what do you think of the headlines today?
All right, in my opinion, the Daily Nation and the Star were not thoughtful.
I'm really connected to the Star.
Yeah?
The dream, I don't know, the word dream really catches me.
Dream, it's a big word, it's a big word, but I feel like they could have done more. Raila's big day, Raila's mega dream, we know this, but personally, I was drawn to the People Daily.
Raila's big Azimio wedding.
That caught me,
Yep.
It makes sense because, even in the speech, he spoke about how he's not necessarily in a fight against individuals and against personalities, rather a fight for ideologies, bringing in new ideologies, which will be blanketed under the Azimio movement. So I'm a bit inclined. I'll choose between the Star and the People Daily. What do you think, Miss Pope?
Yes.
I think the People Daily, the Azimio thing got me. Yeah.
So we give it to, we'll not toss any of the headlines today, but we'll give it to the People Daily, Raila's big Azimio wedding.
Yes.
So Miss Pope, why don't you kick us off with your submission today?
President Uhuru Kenyatta, during a majority of his time in office, has repeatedly told us and reminded us that there is a season for working and there's a season for politics. He has often emphasized that he understood the calling of his high office, and at the end, he would have to show what he has delivered. And he did exactly that when he spoke for almost 3 hours during his State of the Nation address to the nation. It became clear why he said other people had been tangatangaing when he was busy working day and night at State House, doing what he believed God had put him there to do on behalf of the people. But because other leaders were constantly politicking, the people were being misinformed and lied to. President Uhuru is like the prophet Moses in the Bible, who went up Mount Sinai to have a bilateral with God. For 40 days and 40 nights, President Moses did God's work at Mount Sinai State House. Being on top of the mountain, he was shown the blueprints for the promised land and the map for getting there. President Moses focused on doing the best for his people, who were notorious for being impatient and always complaining. But President Moses still focused on doing God's work on behalf of the people. When the time came for President Moses to check on the people, he came down from the mountain, but he did not come empty-handed. Everything he had been shown on the mountain revealed to him that one of the best ways to get the people to the promised land was to change the laws. So as the president came down the mountain, he carried in his hands 2 tablets on which he had downloaded from God the 10 First Amendment commandments. But when President Moses got to where the people were, to his utter surprise, he found that his brother Aaron, who was an MP for the Gema Israelites and whom he had trusted to keep the people in line, had become confused with something called tangatanga. Aaron had joined those who were misleading the people in encouraging them to worship a false god in the form of a golden chicken. And this false god went by the name Bwana Asifiwe. President Moses was filled with a deep sense of frustration. How could the people be so short-sighted? But even worse, how could the likes of Aaron become Tangatanga MPs and join those who were making the people lose sight of the truth and what was good for them? And because there was confusion amongst the people about what was good for them, a plague was sent called the judiciary, which delayed the First Amendment to the Constitution. Because of this, the First Amendment was put on hold, and President Moses decided to deal with the golden chicken first, and only after doing so would he then reintroduce the delayed First Amendment commandments. But President Moses, although frustrated, he was confident that all the work he had done on Mount Sinai State House would not go to waste, and that eventually the people would get closer and closer to the promised land. And in his wisdom, President Moses believed that the Prime Minister, Joshua Odinga, would carry on the good work he had begun in following the map to the promised land and using the blueprints and the First Amendment commandments that had been released at Mount Sinai State House.
Seeing as Baba's date with destiny yesterday was a roaring success, I couldn't help but look back and ask myself this question. What about this time is different with regards to Baba? In the past, we related Baba to the rocking chair. He would keep you busy, but take you nowhere. But this time, things seem different. Baba seems to be a different beast, and his date with destiny looks unstoppable. The aura around him radiates a confidence that we have yet to see from him. And this is because he has learned from the past. He has shaken off the mud that once targeted him and turned it into the mud that will build his 2022 campaign. This reminded me of a story of a farmer and a donkey. One day, the farmer became totally frustrated from the stubbornness of this donkey and pushed the donkey down a deep well. The donkey cried for help, but the farmer ignored his cries. If that wasn't far enough, the farmer then started to shovel soil into the well in an attempt to bury that donkey. But once the farmer started to throw soil into the well, something odd happened. The donkey was cleverer than the farmer had expected. With every shovel of soil, the donkey would shake it off from its back and use that soil to take a step towards the top of the well. As the farmer shoveled more soil into the well, the donkey would again shake it off its back and take another step up. Eventually, the donkey was on top of the well and staring right into the eyes of the farmer. And that is Raila Odinga for you. His stubbornness got him thrown into a well, and because of his stubbornness, he has remained in the well for decades. But in 2018, something changed. Instead of moping at the bottom of the well, he used the soil that was thrown to bury him as his staircase to Canaan. With every piece of soil that has been thrown at him, he has now shrugged it off and used it as a stepping stone to his date with destiny. And now he is nearing the top and looking straight into the eye of his opponent. He has the experience of how to do it wrong behind him. Through the handshake, he now has the blueprint of how to win an election. He now understands that his biggest obstacle to his destiny is not a man named Ruto. It is Baba himself. And if the Baba train continues to coast as it has been, he will undoubtedly become Baba the Fifth.
Watching the crowds at the Azimio la Umoja convention and the energy that was radiating through our TV screens gave us the definite sense that politics is back. And as Professor Mutahi Ngunyi likes to say, politics was invented by the Luo nation. And at the forefront of the liberation struggle has been Raila Odinga, who has given his life to the political processes. By the time of the nullified 2017 elections, followed by tear gas Mondays, Baba Man might have almost given up. Setback after setback, was he ever going to get a break? Well, today we want to remind Raila that the circumstances of politics, just like in life, are never permanent. Let me share an illustration. A story is told of a wise king seeking knowledge on how to make a sad man happy and a happy man sad. He requested from his minister Benaiah to bring him a ring with these magical powers. Well, Benaiah searched and searched all over the kingdom for this ring. Most likely, the king knew that he would never be able to find the ring, but Benaiah never gave up. He finally went into the slums of the city and found a craftsman who worked in metal. The craftsman turned to his grandfather with this very odd request, who in turn went into his workshop and appeared with a ring. This ring that he brought out to the minister to present to the king was gold, and on the ring was this phrase engraved on the inside. It read, "This too shall pass." When presented to the king, he was dumbfounded. How precise! No one thought they could be something that would make you stop in your path and reflect on the past, the present, and the future, and remind you that the state you are in is not going to last forever. So, what is Raila's takeaway from this story? Politics is impermanent. Yesterday's foes are today's allies. Even though the handshake has had its setbacks, stay the course, because this too shall pass. And though it may seem like William Ruto has had a head start in campaigning, and he also has an advantage as an incumbent, let not this stubborn arrogance be the final word. In fact, we take this moment to remind Ruto that today he is assured in his position as the deputy president. But tomorrow, he could just be pushing one of those yellow wheelbarrows, because this too will pass.
Yes, indeed, Horio. Politics is never permanent. It's always shifting goalposts.
Yes.
So, on a day when we had a winning headline from the People Daily, I'd like to leave you with this quote. It says, from Heracticus, I hope I said that right. Okay. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and he's not the same Baba. Sorry, I mean man.
I like that
Thank you so
rendition.
much for watching, and you have a great weekend.